Good morning, friends. Today I am going to discuss with you a very interesting poem written by W.B. Yeats. The title of the poem is A Prayer for My Daughter. This poem is written by W.B. Yeats in the year 1919 when his daughter Annie was born. And this poem is published in his collection Michael Robertus and the Dancer. A Prayer for My Daughter opens with an image of the child which was sleeping innocently in a cradle. So, in the poem, the poet discusses that in the beginning of the poem, a furious storm born on the Atlantic Ocean is sweeping the Irish countryside. There is hardly any obstacle in the way of the storm to diminish its intensity. Only the wood that is belong to Lady Gregory's estate and one hill on which there is no growth of shrubs or trees serve as some kind of obstacle in its way. So the storm was coming from the Atlantic Ocean, but there is no obstacle for this storm, and only there is an obstacle of Lady Gregory's estate and one hill. And in the next line, the poet says, the poet is in a state of excited reverie. Reverie means he was in deep thought. He lost in his deep thought, but his thoughts are of a kind to excite or agitate him. The intensity of the storm makes him think that the years of the future have come out of the destructive innocence of the Atlantic Ocean in response to the wild beating of a drum. Here, dancing to a frenzied drum means the beating of a drum was a call to the members of a tribe to come quickly from wherever they were at the moment and get ready for the battle. So the poet says the murderous innocence of the sea means here the sea is very destructive or murderous and yet innocent. It is innocent because it has no personal ill will against anyone, and it is destructive force which has given rise to the storm. In the next line, the poet says, the poet wishes that his daughter should grow into a beautiful woman. So, however, he does not want that she should be so beautiful as to become a cause of heartache or emotional torment to some stranger by making him fall in love with her. So here the writer expects that or wishes that his daughter should be very beautiful. But there is also one condition that she should not be so beautiful that she give torture to stranger by falling in love with that stranger. He does not want that she should be so beautiful that while looking at herself in the mirror, she should get extravagant ideas of her physical charms. He also says that she should not be so beautiful when she saw into the mirror. That time she should not think that about her physical charms. So if she is so beautiful as to become very proud of her beauty and she will lose her natural kindness and also her emotional warmth. So he wishes that his daughter should not be so beautiful that she will she will be so proud of her beauty and she will lose her natural kindness. And in the next stanza, he gives the references of Greek mythology. That is, he gives the references of Helen. All of you know about the Helen? Helen was an extraordinarily beautiful woman. The Greek warrior and general Menelaus got married to her because of her great beauty. But her beauty had made her so proud that she found her life with Menelaus dull and boring because of her beauty, and she ran away with a lover who was a Trojan prince. So her elopement with this Trojan prince led to a prolonged and bloody war between the Greeks and the Trojans. So because of the Helen's beauty proved a curse to her and to others. And the next mythology, example of mythology, the poet has given is about the Aphrodite, Queen Aphrodite. She is a goddess of beauty and love. She is believed to have emerged from sea foam, but having had no father, she knew no discipline and therefore she was merely led by her whims. Because of her undisciplined independence of spirit, she chose a husband who was most unsuited for her. And the third example the poet has given is about the horn of plenty. It is also from the ancient mythology. The horn of a goat represented as overflowing with flowers, fruit, and corn. And in the next line, the poet would like his daughter to learn courteous manners. The poet says that his daughter should learn a very good manners. Women who are not extraordinarily beautiful will not attract true lovers if they do not possess genuine courtesy and good manners. The poet says if the woman is having a good courtesy or genuine courtesy and good manners, definitely she will attract a very good person. The hearts of men have to be won by courtesy and affection. Their hearts will not come as gifts to women who do not possess exceptional beauty. So the poet is autobiographical and he gives a reference of his own futile love for the beautiful Maud Gonne. The poet was also fall in love with a beautiful woman, Maud Gonne, because of her beauty only. Like a fool, he thought that she also was fallen in love with him, but he has wasted his time. And after that, he became wiser and married to another woman from whom he always received a glad kindness. So, in the next line, the poet says that the poet would like his daughter to grow like a flourishing tree, and he would like her thoughts to be cheerful like the songs of bird. Here the poet says that his daughter's voice of the song should be like a bird. Means she should speak very good to others. She should be very courteous. He would like her not to be get involved in any competitive struggle except for the sake of fun. So the poet says, my mind has dried up of late because the minds that I have loved, the sort of beauty that I have approved, prosper but little. So the poet says the kind of intellectual hatred Maud Gonne had is the worst form of hatred. The poet would like his daughter not to have a strong opinions of an intellectual kind because such opinions lead only to suffering and unhappiness. He also gives the examples of the loveliest woman, Maud Gonne, who came of a rich and aristocratic family but whose strong intellectual opinions made a mere windbag of her. Under the influence of her strong political opinions, that is, Maud Gonne sacrificed her prosperity and her excellent qualities of birth and breeding. So here the poet is autobiographical and now he is praying to the God for his daughter that his daughter should not be so beautiful that which will make others fall in love with her and she should not be so beautiful that she will attract any stranger and she should not become so proud of her own beauty. This is a very beautiful poem written by W.B. Yeats and this poem is published in the year 1919 after the birth of his own daughter, that is Annie Yeats. Okay, I think all of you understood this poem which is written by W.B. Yeats. And if you like it, please subscribe my channel and and also share it. Thank you.